So today I have a really special treat for you guys. I've got a 1964 ISO RIVOLTA that Jared has kindly brought to me for a video, and here it is behind me. It's an incredibly rare car. I believe it's the only one in Africa, or the only known one to be in Africa. There's only about 300 left in the world. There are about 700 made. Enjoy the video. Okay, so Jared, tell us a little bit about it.
So it's a 1964 ISO RIVOLTA. It runs a 327 Corvette engine, the same as the C2 Corvettes of the era. It's one of 791 cars produced, and it's believed that about 300 of these examples survive today. It's the only one in Africa that's known of. I got it originally 7 odd years ago from the second owner, who had purchased it from a colleague of his. They were German people that came out and worked in the country, and then the husband actually passed away, and then the car sat in a basement of a building for many years in Randburg, and then he bought the car from them. And then when I found out about it from a friend of mine, I contacted David, and he said to me he didn't want to sell it as usual when you want to buy something. And then after a couple of years, I ended up getting a call from him. I think it was about 4 years later. And he said to me, do you want to buy the car? And I was kind of like taken aback because I hadn't expected it to come through. And then I bought it, and then I put it in storage for about 3 years. And then I moved down to PE, and then we started about 4 years ago, like a part-time recommissioning of the car. The bodywork was done, paintwork and that to the original color of the car as it was. Recommissioning was done, like your exhaust, your new tires, the rims recommissioned, brake system recommissioned, radiator, fuel tank, fuel pumps, all the stuff that you kind of would need to be able to get it on the road and drive it without worrying if it's going to break down.
But it wasn't a hell of a lot of stuff you needed to do, though.
No, it's actually amazing how robust this car is, because I mean, according to the guy that I got it from, I kept in touch with him for a number of years afterwards, sending him the details of the car and how things were progressing. And he told me that the car hadn't run in 52 years, and that was the first time we drove it.
That's incredible, eh? That's incredible. And suspension and stuff, did you need to do anything?
I didn't do anything on it. It was
Really,
still all fine. Yeah. So I just had that as it was. And it's still running on the original spark plugs of 52 years old.
Crazy.
Because I haven't actually found the ones yet in the country. I need to actually bring them in when I got a chance.
And you were telling me a bit earlier that a lot of the parts are shared with other brands.
Yeah,
Alphas,
different
and
brands,
you
yeah.
said, Lamborghini.
Lamborghini taillights, Alfa Romeo 2600 door handles, headlights are Alfa Junior, the front indicator lights and everything else are the same as the 2600 Spider, I remember. Yeah, interior, obviously we kept original, I didn't change anything on that.
And I think that was 100% the right call. I mean, this leather is still in beautiful condition. A bit of cracking there, but
yeah,
I mean, it's just,
the original patina that
absolutely,
survived, yeah.
And the dashboard as well. Eh?
Yeah. So we kept all of that original. I didn't want to play too much with it because it was so nice that it hadn't been through so many owners.
Yeah.
That you could actually just make do with what you had.
You're the third owner.
I'm the third owner now. Yeah. So, and then also we put new tires on. We went to get the Fredenstein classic tires, which we got from Jeffy Tire in Joburg. So if any classic car guys in South Africa are looking for proper tires, you can contact them.
Those are the guys.
They're the right guys. Yeah.
I'll get your number. So if anybody is looking and you can't find them, but they should be on Google.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just love the lines of this car. It's absolutely magnificent. Eh?
Yeah, it looks like, a couple of bits and pieces of, some people say it looks a bit Aston Martin, some guys say it looks a bit Maserati. It's got influences of a lot of different styles, eh?
And of course, after you spoke to me, I googled it, and I much prefer the look of these earlier ones to the later ones.
Yeah, you're right.
With the bonnet that slopes a bit more in front.
Yeah.
I mean, this really looks nice, eh?
Yeah.
And the little eyebrows above the lights. Eh?
It's actually almost got a bit of Common Gear Type 34 on there.
Very much, yeah. Very much so. And the fins. And in terms of performance and stuff, obviously, what are the specs on it?
If I remember, it's about a 7-second to 100, which in 64 was good.
It's fast, yeah.
Yeah. It's so you get an ISO RIVOLTA IR300 and very rare is an ISO RIVOLTA IR340.
Okay.
The 340 stands for 340 horsepower and the 300 is 300 horsepower.
Okay.
So I don't know how many 340s are made, but it wasn't many, and I don't know how many survive. But that Yeah, that was the only
so
difference.
300 horsepower, it was 210 kilowatts somewhere
Yeah.
around there. Yeah, somewhere 220.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, the engines are bulletproof, as I've seen. You know, like I said, it just runs like an absolute beaut.
And you were saying a Borg-Warner
Borg-Warner 4-speed gearbox.
4-speed.
Yeah.
Okay.
There were a couple of autos, but I don't know how many. I would imagine most people would have wanted a manual 4-speed.
Yeah, that sort of car. Yeah. Do you mind opening up the boot and we can
Yeah,
look
sure.
at that as well? You were also telling me while we were chatting earlier about the hubcaps, and you know how you were able to source replacements. I mean, that was very, very fascinating.
So I'd actually found a place watching Wheeler Dealers.
Yeah.
And when I got hold of those guys in the UK, and they were able to make up hubcaps that were basically almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
After getting quotes from a company in Germany that wanted to charge, I think, 9,000 Rand a hubcap.
Wow.
Because actually very few cars came out with these Barani steel wheels with hubcaps actually. Most of them came out with the Barani wire wheels, which actually is a lovely wheel. I would have loved that on my car. But it's
Still
nice
possible to find those?
You can. In fact, I nearly got a set at one stage, and then the guy wanted to keep the hubs, and I said, well, I don't want the wheels without the hubs, so I didn't end up getting the wheels. But in some ways it's nice to have the one with the hubcaps as well, because it's a bit more rare.
And you were telling me what you did inside here as well. It's just this.
Yeah, so this is all original. We never changed anything. We just had it re-edged, and we kept it, cleaned it. We tried not to play with anything that we didn't need to play with. Here's the original spare wheel.
Oh, okay.
The original toolkit. It's got all the beta spanners and the attachment for the jack. There's the jack underneath there.
I mean, just the originality of it is astounding. Eh?
I've got the books as well, the original owner's manuals. I've got a brand new set of proper ISO Rivolta keys that have never been used. So they weren't even ones that you just got cut as the proper original keys that the car came with. I got even the test documents that came with it. Yeah, I think that's what I just loved about it. It was just such a unique thing, and it hadn't been messed around with.
It's just so original.
Yeah. Let me just see if I can get the books to show you. Even the original radio player. So that's the original books, and there's the original keys.
Wow. Oh, that's crazy. Do you mind popping the bonnet?
Yeah, sure.
And you were saying here as well, obviously it's got the Chevy motor, but
Yeah.
also Jag boosters or...
Yeah, Jaguar brakes, boosters and that. They also, as far as I know, also I think some of the suspension has got to do with Mercedes, like the ball joints and stuff like that too.
And even here, did you do much work inside here?
No, like I said, we pulled the radiator out, we cleaned a lot. Yeah, and then I had that re-chromed, you know, the air filter, a couple of small things here and there.
The fire blanket.
Yeah, so
Okay, you were saying before the dogs interrupted us here.
yeah, so I had the original template that was on the car when I got it, and then I ended up ordering a fire blanket, and we remade the bonnet lining out of a fire blanket, which actually worked out
And
perfectly.
it looks beautiful.
Yeah, and it's got such a nice feel. It's solid and everything else. So
Beautiful. Jared, let's take it for a drive. Eh?
okay.
Oh, it runs beautifully, eh?
Yeah, it really does. I've actually found it to be one of the most sure-footed Italian cars I've ever driven on the road. I've had a lot of Alphas and stuff in my life, and if I tell you, this is to me one of the best Italian cars that I've ever driven.
And comfortable as well.
Very, yeah. It's a great GT car, that's what I can tell you, yeah. It's got wonderful long legs,
nicely,
yeah.
Well, I'm amazed actually.
And the gears are so precise, you know, it's so nice.
And all the gauges work.
Yeah.
funny how the 60s just a completely different time, eh? No seat belts, nothing like that, eh?
True.
No headrests. Wow, you don't need it.
Only the strong survive.
Yeah, don't crash, yeah. That's
exactly.
all. And this is all original here?
Yeah.
And illuminated or?
What's that?
Illuminated.
I never drive it at night, so I can't actually tell you. I always found it strange. It's got electric windows but a manual sunroof.
Yeah. It really pulls nicely here.
Yeah. And it's actually fun enough, even though it's a fast car, I never like to drive it fast, but I love feeling the torque, you know, when you overtake or you just accelerate. But I don't think I've ever driven it past 140 k's an hour because it doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it is, what's it, almost 60-year-old car?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's 61 years.
61, yeah.
Crazy.
1964, eh?
Yeah, and for 52 years of its life, it stood still. How crazy, eh?
It's a shame, eh?
Yeah.
Even the dashboard, I mean, the stitching and stuff.
Yeah.
That's all original. You haven't done anything on that.
As it was, yeah.
And that's, I would assume, is the heater.
Yeah, it's like the heater stuff.
I like the Ferrari keyring.
You won't believe me, that was from the first, I owned a Ferrari 308 fiberglass version. And I ended up selling the car and I actually forgot to give the guy the keyring. And then when I got this car, I thought, well, with the engineers of Ferrari that joined the company to make this car, it was almost fitting to put it on this car. So I put it on.
Yeah, you were telling me that that ISO was founded by one of the guys one of the engineers at Ferrari.
Yeah, Giotto Bizzarini.
Okay.
He was one of the guys. I'm not sure exactly what he did. I need to Google it. And then he joined ISO RIVOLTA, and they started producing these cars. Because I don't think many people even know that ISO was actually the company that started making the Isetta, and then sold the design actually to BMW. So they first started making scooters, appliances, I think fridges predominantly, and made the Isetta, and then started making these beautiful GT cars. And then obviously from that the Bizzarini cars came, which were the real performance racing cars. I think some of those used the 7-litre V8 motors.
Also Chevy? Or?
Yes, as far as I know, yeah. So all of the cars used, American V8s. It's actually almost the best combination because you got the Italian styling with the reliability of the Americans. Yeah, for sure. And it does exactly what you want it to do.
Yeah. And the original radio as well, eh?
Yeah, that's still the original radio, yeah. And it still works too.
Let's take a walk around here at the old Burkow warehouse as well. Most of the cars been driven in ages.
Yeah, it's true.
But you know what I love? It just works. The temperature, I've been looking at like the temperature gauge and the oil pressure. I mean, it's fine.
It's the way it should be, yeah, 100%.
Exactly, yeah.
And after all these years, you'd think like those kind of things would be messing around, but
and particularly on a car that hasn't had that sort of work done.
Yeah.
The original. You were saying that the spark plugs are hard to find. What are they?
They're not actually that hard to find. It's just difficult to get them in because if you want to bring in, say, 8 spark plugs,
Yeah.
your shipping is going to cost you about 3,000 Rand, and the plugs are probably going to cost you about 800 Rand.
Yeah.
So I've got a mate of mine in America, when he comes again, I'm going to get him to bring them for me.